Welcome to my channel Millionaire Coin Finds. If you're not checking your half dollars, you could be throwing away a fortune, because today's coin might be worth more than your entire monthly paycheck. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most iconic American coins ever struck, a coin that carries history, mystery, and in rare cases, an unbelievable price tag. We're talking about the 1972 Kennedy half dollar, a coin that millions of Americans carried in their pockets without ever realizing what made it truly special. But today, you're going to learn exactly why collectors everywhere are hunting for this coin, and why some versions of it can be worth far more than anyone would expect. The Kennedy half dollar has always been more than just money. It was first introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. Americans lined up at banks across the country to get these coins as keepsakes, not just as currency. By the time 1972 arrived, the design was already deeply loved, but what makes this particular year so fascinating is the combination of historical context, minting quirks, and collector demand that set the 1972 half dollar apart from others. Let's talk about the world in 1972 for a moment. The United States was changing rapidly: space exploration, shifting politics, new technology, and a growing interest in coin collecting. The U.S. Mint was producing millions of coins every month to keep up with the nation's booming economy. Among that mass production came the 1972 Kennedy half dollar, struck at multiple mints including Philadelphia and Denver. While these coins were meant for everyday use, not all of them came out exactly alike. And that's where things get interesting. The design features the bold and dignified portrait of President Kennedy on the front, a symbol of leadership and resilience. His image is clean, powerful, and instantly recognizable. On the reverse, you'll find the presidential coat of arms, the eagle with its wings spread wide, holding arrows and an olive branch. It's a symbol of strength and peace, showing the balance America strives for. What many people don't realize is that tiny differences in this design can turn an ordinary pocket coin into a collector's dream. Some 1972 half dollars show unusual strike errors, misaligned dies, doubling in the lettering, or even rare planchet defects. These aren't flaws to collectors, they're treasures. Minting errors create unique coins, and uniqueness is the golden rule of value in the numismatic world. A coin that is the only one of its kind, or one of just a few, instantly becomes more desirable than anything else from that year. But that's not the only thing that determines value. Condition is king. A 1972 Kennedy half dollar that has survived for more than 50 years without scratches, fingerprints, or dullness is incredibly hard to find. Most of these coins passed through countless hands, sat in drawers, or were used in vending machines. That's why high-grade examples, those that look almost untouched since the day they left the mint, are the ones collectors chase. Imagine finding a coin that has traveled through 5 decades without aging. The shine, the crispness of the details, the perfectly preserved surfaces, that's what makes collectors' hearts race. Combine that condition with a rare error or a scarce variant, and suddenly you're holding something far more valuable than it appears. People all over the world search for these hidden gems, hoping that the next coin they examine is the one worth a fortune. And believe it or not, some 1972 half dollars have stunned collectors with their market value. You might think it's just an old, ordinary coin, but the right version, in the right condition, can be worth far more than you would ever expect. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. A rare 1972 Kennedy half dollar with exceptional preservation and a desirable minting error has been known to sell for an astonishing $85,000. Today, we're taking a journey through American history by exploring one of the most interesting and surprising coins issued by the United States Mint, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar. At first glance, it may look like just another half dollar, something many people used decades ago for everyday purchases. But hidden beneath its silver sheen is a story of rarity, unexpected value, and a twist that makes this coin one of the most exciting pieces for collectors to chase. Now, the Kennedy half dollar has always carried a legacy that sets it apart from other U.S. coins. Created to honor President John F. Kennedy after his tragic and unforgettable assassination in 1963, the design became an instant national symbol. By 1973, the coin was already a familiar sight across America, but something unusual happened that year, something that made certain 1973 half dollars dramatically harder to find and far more fascinating to collectors today. Unlike many other years, the United States Mint produced the 1973 half dollar in limited numbers compared to the massive mintages seen in years before and after. For everyday circulation, these coins didn't flood the market the way people might expect. Many of them went directly into government-issued mint sets and never touched the hands of the public. That alone makes the 1973 half dollar special, but the real story lies in its rarest versions and the extraordinary condition some of them have managed to survive in. Let's take a moment to appreciate the design. On the front, you'll see the proud and dignified portrait of President Kennedy, sculpted with incredible detail, from the curve of his hair to the sharp lines of his jaw. This portrait isn't just artwork, it's a reminder of a leader whose influence shaped an entire era. On the reverse, the majestic eagle stands strong, holding the olive branch of peace and the arrows of defense. Surrounding it are 50 small stars, each one representing the strength and unity of the United States. Even after decades, the design still carries a powerful message. But what truly fuels the excitement around the 1973 Kennedy half dollar are the unexpected variations and errors that slip through during the minting process. Some coins show doubling in the inscriptions, some have striking anomalies, and others have surface defects that happen during production. While these might sound like imperfections, to collectors, they're incredibly valuable. A minting error transforms a common coin into a unique collectible, something that may be one of a kind, and then there's the matter of condition. Most half dollars from the 1970s are worn down, scratched, or dulled by years of circulation. But a few 1973 half dollars have survived in breathtaking condition, shining with luster, crisp in detail, and completely free from the tiny marks that usually appear over time. These high-grade examples are extremely hard to find because so many of the 1973 coins never appeared in regular circulation, and those that did were often used without care. Collectors today are willing to pay staggering amounts for a 1973 half dollar with the right combination of rarity, condition, and minting quality. A flawless strike, a rare error, or a superb mint-state coin can instantly turn this ordinary-looking half dollar into a true treasure. Imagine the thrill of discovering a coin that most people would walk right past, but serious collectors would battle over. And now for the moment you've been waiting for. A rare 1973 Kennedy half dollar in exceptional condition, combined with a desirable minting error, has reached an astonishing value of $80,000. 1986 Kennedy half dollar. At first glance, the 1986 half dollar might look like a typical coin from the 1980s, carried in pockets, coin jars, and old cash registers across the country. But as we dig deeper, you'll see that this coin holds far more than meets the eye. It's packed with history, symbolism, surprising rarity, and an incredible value possibility that you absolutely don't want to miss. Let's rewind the clock to the year 1986. America was moving through an era of growth, technology advancements, and cultural change. The Statue of Liberty centennial celebrations were sweeping across the country, and patriotism was stronger than ever. Against this backdrop, the United States Mint continued producing the Kennedy half dollar, a coin that had already become an American icon since its introduction in 1964. The 1986 Kennedy half dollar reflects the powerful legacy of President John F. Kennedy, a leader whose impact is still felt decades later. Every detail on the coin was carefully designed to honor his memory. On the front, you see the famous portrait of Kennedy, strong profile, confident gaze, an elegant detail that captures the spirit of an entire generation. Even though the design had been used for over 20 years by 1986, it still looked timeless, representing ideals of leadership, unity, and hope. On the back of the coin, the majestic presidential coat of arms displays the American eagle with wings held high. In one talon, the eagle grips an olive branch to symbolize peace. In the other, it holds arrows to show strength and readiness to protect the nation. Surrounding the eagle is a full circle of stars, each representing a state in the Union. This design doesn't just decorate the coin, it tells a story of American identity, resilience, and pride. But the story of the 1986 half-dollar becomes even more interesting when we begin exploring minting quality, circulation patterns, and rare variations. Unlike earlier decades, half-dollars were not commonly used in everyday spending by the mid-1980s. Many people simply didn't see them often, which led to fewer circulating examples and better preserved coins sitting untouched in mint sets, coin rolls, and personal collections. However, this also means that truly high-grade coins, the ones in flawless condition, are incredibly hard to come by. What brings the biggest excitement is the fact that some 1986 Kennedy half-dollars display remarkable minting quirks. Doubling in the lettering, unusual die cracks, clipped planchets, off-center strikes, and surface anomalies can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a unique discovery. Collectors are constantly searching for these rare mint errors because they introduce a level of uniqueness that can skyrocket a coin's value. Think about it. A single minting mistake during a split-second strike at the US Mint can create a coin unlike any other. And if that coin survives the years without scratches, wear, or discoloration, it becomes a collector's dream. The combination of rarity and condition is what determines whether a coin will sell for a few dollars, or for a life-changing amount. Many collectors love the 1986 Kennedy half-dollar because it represents a turning point in American coin circulation. It was one of the years when half-dollars became more of a collectible item than a currency people use daily. Because of this, some of the best preserved examples exist today in stunning, almost untouched condition. Under proper lighting, these coins can shine with a mirror-like luster that makes collectors stop in their tracks. Imagine holding a 1986 half-dollar that has survived almost 4 decades without a single noticeable flaw. The sharpness of Kennedy's hair, the depth of the eagle's feathers, the clarity of every small star, all perfectly preserved as if the coin was minted yesterday. That kind of beauty and rarity combined is what drives collectors to pay astonishing prices when the right coin appears at auction. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The rarest and most pristine 1986 Kennedy half-dollar, paired with a highly desirable minting error, has been known to reach an extraordinary value of $90,000. 2000 Kennedy half-dollar. It may seem like a recent coin, something that couldn't possibly be rare or valuable, but that's exactly what makes this story so fascinating. Hidden within the year 2000 half-dollars are some of the most surprising discoveries, incredible minting varieties, and unexpected price tags that few people even know exist. Let's rewind to the year 2000 for a moment. The world had just stepped into a brand new millennium. Technology was booming, America was evolving, and a fresh wave of interest in coins and collectibles was rising. During this time, the United States Mint continued producing the iconic Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that had already been loved for nearly 4 decades. But the 2000 edition stood out in a special way, not because of how many were made, but because of how they were used. By the year 2000, half-dollars were no longer common in everyday circulation. Most Americans didn't see them in their change or use them at stores anymore. Instead, the US Mint began producing half-dollars mainly for collectors, coin rolls, and mint sets. This created an interesting situation. Although millions were minted, very few ever entered circulation, which means pristine examples of the 2000 half-dollar are far more common than worn ones. But here's the twist. Finding an absolutely flawless example, or one with an unusual minting feature, is incredibly rare and worth serious attention. The design of the 2000 Kennedy half-dollar remains one of the most powerful and elegant designs ever placed on American currency. The front shows the bold and unforgettable portrait of President John F. Kennedy. Even decades after his time in office, his profile still symbolizes leadership, hope, and national pride. Every detail, from the sharp lines of his hair to the smooth curvature of his features, was carefully sculpted to preserve his legacy. On the reverse side, the majestic American eagle spreads its wings wide, holding an olive branch symbolizing peace and arrows representing strength and readiness. Surrounding the eagle are rays, stars, and detailed textures that reflect the craftsmanship of the United States Mint at the turn of the millennium. Even though this design had been used for many years, It still looked modern, sharp, and symbolic in the year 2000. But what makes the 2000 Kennedy half-dollar truly exciting are the minting errors, striking varieties, and high-grade examples that collectors desperately search for. Some coins from this year show doubling in the lettering, unusual die rotations, off-center strikes, missing layers, and even rare planchet errors. These mistakes may seem small, but to collectors they're treasures, each one creating a coin that no one else has. Minting errors are like nature's accidents in the coin world. They happen unexpectedly and randomly, making each one unique. When a coin with an error also happens to be preserved in brilliant, untouched condition, its desirability skyrockets. Collectors and investors know that uniqueness plus perfection equals tremendous value. Even without errors, a perfect 2000 Kennedy half-dollar graded at the highest levels, showing full luster, crystal clear details, and mirror-like surfaces, can attract impressive prices. After all, very few coins survive long enough to remain flawless, especially over decades. A complete absence of scratches, dents, or dullness is extremely hard to find, and here's where the excitement builds. Throughout the years, certain 2000 Kennedy half-dollars with astonishing condition or rare minting features have shocked collectors with their selling prices. These standout coins prove that even a modern coin, one people assume is ordinary, can turn into a rare gem worth far more than anyone expects. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. A spectacular 2000 Kennedy half-dollar with the perfect blend of rarity, condition, and a highly desirable minting error has been known to reach an incredible value of $75,000. Thank you for watching, and if you love exploring rare coins, uncovering hidden treasures, and learning the stories behind valuable finds, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another exciting coin adventure. Keep searching your collections and checking your coin rolls, because your next unbelievable discovery might be sitting right in your pocket.